Welcome to our deep dive into the world of upscaling in games.
Yeah.
Specifically DLSS and supersampling.
Right.
So we're going to be taking you on a journey from, understanding those annoying jaggies to uncovering how AI is revolutionizing gaming graphics
Absolutely.
for a smoother, more visually stunning experience.
Yeah. It's a really fascinating field.
For sure.
We're constantly pushing the boundaries of what's possible visually.
Right.
While also, striving for that buttery smooth performance that I think everybody wants.
Yeah, okay. Let's unpack this, starting with the basics.
Sure.
You're playing your favorite game, and suddenly you notice these jagged edges, especially on objects with complex shapes or during fast motion.
Right.
Those are the dreaded jaggies, technically known as aliasing.
Yeah.
Why do they happen?
Well, it all boils down to resolution.
Okay.
How many tiny squares or pixels your screen uses to display the image. The more pixels you pack in, the smoother the image.
Yeah, I bet my graphics card's already groaning just thinking about it.
Exactly. Cranking up the resolution puts a huge strain on your hardware.
Right.
And that's where upscaling technologies come into play.
Okay, now we got this classic solution called supersampling, or SSAA.
Right.
Could you give us a quick rundown of how that works?
Think of it like taking a super high-resolution photo
Okay.
and then shrinking it down to fit your screen.
Gotcha.
You lose some detail in the process, but the overall image is smoother because those jagged edges get averaged out.
Okay.
The problem is it requires a ton of processing power.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So enter DLSS Deep Learning Supersampling, NVIDIA's AI-powered solution.
Right.
Now, this sounds like something straight out of a sci-fi movie.
It kind of is.
Yeah.
Imagine this. The game renders at a lower resolution to ease the load on your graphics card, and then a super smart AI steps in to upscale the image intelligently.
Wow.
It's trained on massive data sets of images, learning to predict what the higher resolution image should look like. The result is a smoother image with less performance impact.
So it's like having an AI artist enhance your game in real time.
It really is.
But how does the DLSS actually work? It's magic.
Right.
It's not just stretching pixels, right?
You're right. DLSS goes beyond simple upscaling.
Okay.
Think of it as reconstructing missing detail.
Okay.
The AI model analyzes the lower resolution image and fills in the gaps, creating a more detailed and smoother result.
Okay.
It's like an AI detective piecing together a complete picture from a few clues.
This is where it gets really interesting for me.
Yeah.
We're not just talking about removing jaggies. We're talking about adding detail that wasn't even there in the original render.
Exactly.
That seems like a huge leap forward.
It absolutely is. And the real beauty of DLSS is that it achieves all this with a fraction of the performance cost.
Wow.
Compared to traditional supersampling.
So better visuals, A&D, smoother gameplay.
Yeah.
It sounds almost too good to be true.
I know, right?
I'm guessing there are different levels to this DLSS magic, right?
Yeah.
Like good, better, and best.
You're thinking of the different quality modes
Yep.
that DLSS offers. You can choose between performance, balanced quality, and ultra quality.
Okay.
This gives you the user control over how DLSS balances visual fidelity with performance. So,
okay.
Want the absolute smoothest gameplay possible.
Right.
Performance mode will prioritize speed.
Makes sense.
Want the most stunning visuals, even if it means a slight hit to your frame rate.
Yeah.
Ultra quality is your friend.
Okay. So I can tailor DLSS to my specific hardware and preferences.
Yeah.
That's pretty awesome.
You can.
But I have to ask, where is all of this going? What does the future hold for DLSS and AI-powered graphics?
Well, that's a question that keeps NVIDIA engineers up at night in a good way.
Right.
We're only scratching the surface of what AI can do for gaming.
Yeah.
Imagine even more realistic lighting textures and animations all running smoothly on your setup.
Yeah.
The possibilities are mind-boggling.
I can't wait to see what they come up with next. It sounds like we're on the verge of a whole new era of gaming graphics.
It does, doesn't it?
All thanks to the power of AI. But before we get too lost in the future, let's delve a little deeper into how DLSS stacks up against that classic method of supersampling.
Okay.
You mentioned earlier that they both aim for smoother visuals.
Yeah.
But they go about it in very different ways.
That's right. Think of supersampling or SSAA as a straightforward, but computationally expensive brute force method.
Okay.
It's like taking that high-res photo, shrinking it down, and losing detail in the process.
Gotcha.
It's effective, but can really push your hardware to its limits.
So it's all about power over finesse, kind of like a sledgehammer.
Exactly.
Okay.
Whereas DLSS is more of a scalpel, intelligently reconstructing those missing details to create a smoother image
Hmm.
without the heavy performance cost.
Oh,
It's about working smarter, not harder.
right.
That's what makes it such a game changer.
Speaking of which, let's move on to the evolution of DLSS.
Cool.
I remember when it first came out, there was a lot of buzz, but also some skepticism.
Yeah.
How has it evolved over time?
Well, the first version, DLSS 1.0,
Right.
was a huge step forward demonstrating the potential of AI in upscaling.
Okay.
However, it had its limitations.
Okay.
The quality wasn't always consistent,
Mm-hmm.
and it didn't work well with all games.
That's right.
But NVIDIA took those early criticisms to heart and really stepped up their game with DLSS 2.0.
Gotcha.
That's when we saw a significant leap forward in image quality and performance.
Okay.
A new, more sophisticated AI model was introduced, and it could handle a wider variety of game content.
And that's when DLSS really started to gain mainstream adoption, right?
Yeah.
Gamers were actively seeking it out, knowing it could significantly boost their experience.
Absolutely, and with versions 3.0 and beyond, NVIDIA has continued to refine and enhance DLSS, adding features like DLAA, which stands for Deep Learning Anti-Aliasing.
Okay.
Think of it as sharpening your image without sacrificing performance. And then there's ray reconstruction in DLSS 3.5, which makes ray tracing smoother and more efficient.
Nice.
It's like they're constantly adding new tools to their AI-powered graphics toolbox.
It's amazing how NVIDIA is constantly pushing the boundaries,
Yeah.
with DLSS always finding new ways to improve it.
Yeah,
But before we get lost in all the technical details,
sure.
I think it's important to bring it back to you, the listener.
Okay.
What does all this mean for your gaming experience?
Well, for starters, it means you have more control.
Okay.
You can choose the DLSS quality mode that best suits your hardware
Right.
and preferences.
Right.
Want to max out your frame rate? Go for performance mode.
Yeah.
Want the most breathtaking visuals?
Yeah.
Ultra quality is waiting for you. It's
Okay.
about empowering you to have the best possible gaming experience.
So we've covered quite a bit already,
We have.
from understanding those pesky jaggies to the rise of DLSS and how it actually works. We've even had a glimpse into what the future might hold for AI-powered graphics. Now, let's shift gears and dive into how DLSS is impacting different gaming genres.
Okay.
Because, let's face it, not all games are created equal.
That's a great point. DLSS doesn't affect every game genre in the same way.
Right, so let's take a look at how DLSS is enhancing the gaming experience across the board.
Okay.
From those fast-paced shooters where every millisecond matters,
Yeah.
to those immersive, open-world RPGs where visual fidelity is key.
That brings up an interesting point.
Yeah.
Different game genres benefit from DLSS in unique ways.
Okay.
Take fast-paced shooters, for example.
Mhm.
In those games where split-second decisions can make all the difference.
Right.
DLSS can be an absolute game changer.
I can only imagine you're in the middle of a heated firefight.
Yeah,
The action is intense, and suddenly your frame rate dips,
right.
just as you're about to line up the perfect headshot.
Exactly. It's
Yeah.
incredibly frustrating, and that's where DLSS comes in. By reducing the rendering load on your graphics card,
Sure.
DLSS can help you maintain that smooth, responsive gameplay that's so crucial in competitive shooters. It can be the difference between winning and losing.
So it's not just about making the game look better, it's about making it feel better,
Right.
more responsive, and ultimately giving you a competitive edge.
Exactly.
But wouldn't lower input latency, which you mentioned earlier,
Yes.
also benefit other genres,
Yes.
even if not as critically as in shooters?
Absolutely. Input latency. The delay between your action and the game's response
Right.
is important for any game,
Mm-hmm.
but it's especially crucial in those fast-paced, competitive genres.
Right.
DLSS can help reduce input latency, making your actions feel more immediate and connected
Okay.
to what's happening on screen. It's all about that feeling of immersion and control, but the benefits of DLSS go beyond just performance.
Okay.
Let's consider those immersive open-world RPGs,
Hmm.
where visual fidelity plays a major role in creating a believable and captivating world.
Right.
Imagine exploring a vast, detailed landscape
Yeah.
with stunning lighting and shadows,
Right.
all rendered in high resolution and without sacrificing performance.
Wow.
That's the power of DLSS at work.
It's like stepping into a living, breathing world.
It really is.
And speaking of visual fidelity, we can't forget about ray tracing,
Of course.
which is becoming more and more prevalent in modern games.
Right.
For those who might not be familiar, ray tracing is a rendering technique that simulates the way light behaves in the real world,
Yeah.
creating incredibly realistic lighting and reflections.
Right.
It's visually stunning, but it can be very demanding on your hardware.
Very.
But that's where DLSS steps in again, right?
You got it.
Okay.
DLSS helps tame the performance hit of ray tracing,
Okay.
allowing you to experience those stunning visuals without having to compromise on other settings or settle for a lower frame rate.
Gotcha.
You get the best of both worlds, realistic graphics and smooth performance.
Okay.
Really quite remarkable.
It sounds like DLSS is bridging the gap between visual fidelity and performance,
It is.
making cutting-edge graphics technologies more accessible to a wider range of gamers.
It is.
That's a pretty big deal.
Huge.
And it's not just limited to PC gaming either, is it?
You're right, DLSS is making its way onto other platforms.
Oh, wow.
Like mobile devices and cloud gaming services. We're even seeing it integrated into platforms like GeForce NOW,
Right.
which allows you to stream high-fidelity games on devices that wouldn't normally be able to handle them.
So it's breaking down those hardware limitations,
It is.
bringing high-end gaming experiences to a
Right.
whole new audience.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. I'm really excited to see how DLSS continues to evolve and shape the future of gaming graphics.
Me too. And I think it's important to remember that DLSS isn't just about fancy technology.
Okay.
It's about empowering you, the gamer, to have the best possible gaming experience.
Right.
Whether you're a hardcore competitive player or someone who loves to lose themselves in immersive worlds,
Yeah.
DLSS can enhance your enjoyment.
Well said. As we wrap up this first part of our deep dive, I'm left wondering, what are your thoughts on the future of AI in gaming graphics?
Okay.
What possibilities excite you the most? We'll be back in the next part to continue this conversation. But until then, we encourage you to think about how AI might shape the games of tomorrow.
Sounds good. Oh, it's fascinating to think about where this technology could lead.
Yeah.
You know, we've already seen how DLSS can enhance existing games, but imagine AI creating entirely new game assets on the fly,
Right.
crafting dynamic worlds that react to your every move.
It's like the game becomes a living, breathing entity evolving alongside you.
Exactly.
The possibilities are endless. And I, for one, am eager to see where developers take this technology.
Part two.
But before we journey too far into the hypothetical, let's bring it back to the here and now.
Okay.
We've talked a lot about DLSS and its benefits,
Right?
but I think it's important to address a common question we hear from gamers.
Sure.
Is DLSS actually worth it?
It's a valid question.
Right.
And the answer, as with many things in technology,
Yeah.
depends on your individual setup and priorities.
Okay.
For some, the performance gains alone are enough to justify using DLSS.
Right.
Being able to crank up the graphics settings and enjoy smoother gameplay
Yeah.
is a huge win.
Oh, sure.
For others, it's about striking that perfect balance between visual fidelity and performance.
Okay.
And that's where those different quality modes come in.
Right. You can fine-tune DLSS to match your hardware and preferences.
You can.
But what about those who are skeptical about AI messing with their game's visuals?
Sure.
I've heard concerns about DLSS introducing artifacts or making the image look soft compared to native resolution.
Those were valid concerns in the early days of DLSS,
Classic.
especially with the first iteration.
Right.
But NVIDIA has made incredible strides in improving the technology, particularly with DLSS 2.0 and beyond.
Okay.
The image quality is now remarkably close to native resolution, even in demanding scenarios.
Wow.
And with features like DLAA,
Right.
which specifically targets anti-aliasing without upscaling.
You can achieve even sharper visuals.
So it's safe to say that those early concerns have been largely addressed.
Yeah.
With the advancements in DLSS technology, it's no longer a question of if DLSS works,
Right.
but rather how well it works for you.
Exactly. And with each new iteration, we see improvements in image quality performance
Yeah.
and feature sets. It's a constantly evolving technology.
For sure.
And that's what makes it so exciting.
Speaking of exciting, let's talk about the future of gaming graphics beyond just DLSS.
Okay.
We've touched upon the potential of AI to create dynamic and immersive worlds.
Yeah.
But what other advancements are on the horizon?
Well, one area that holds immense promise is real-time ray tracing.
Okay.
We've seen how ray tracing can create incredibly realistic lighting and reflections,
Right.
but it's still very demanding on hardware. AI could play a crucial role in making real-time ray tracing more efficient and accessible,
Right.
allowing for even more visually stunning and immersive gaming experiences.
Imagine worlds where light and shadow behave exactly as they do in the real world,
Yeah,
bringing a whole new level of realism to games.
it sounds almost magical.
It does.
But with the speed at which technology is advancing,
Right.
it might not be as far-fetched as it seems. And it's not just about visuals, is it?
No.
What about the role of AI in enhancing gameplay itself?
That's another exciting area of exploration.
Okay.
AI could be used to create more intelligent and responsive NPCs,
Right.
or non-player characters that adapt to your actions and provide a more dynamic and engaging gaming experience.
Okay.
Imagine enemies that learn your tactics and force you to constantly adapt your strategies.
That's awesome.
Or friendly characters that feel more like companions with unique personalities and motivations.
It's like the line between games and reality is blurring, creating these incredibly immersive and interactive experiences.
It really is.
But with all this talk about AI taking over,
Sure.
I can't help but wonder, what about the role of human creativity in game development? Will AI replace human game designers and artists?
I believe AI will augment human creativity, not replace it.
Okay.
Think of AI as a powerful tool that can assist game developers in creating even more ambitious and immersive worlds,
Right.
freeing them from tedious tasks and allowing them to focus on the core elements of storytelling, gameplay, and artistic vision.
Mm-hmm.
Human creativity will always be at the heart of game development,
Yeah.
but AI can provide the tools and support to push those boundaries even further.
It's like a partnership with AI and human creativity working together to create truly extraordinary gaming experiences.
Exactly.
And I, for one, am excited to see what the future holds for this dynamic duo.
Me too.
But let's not forget the technology is only as good as the people who use it.
Right.
What advice would you give to gamers who are eager to embrace the world of AI-enhanced gaming?
Well, first and foremost, I would encourage gamers to stay informed about the latest advancements in AI and graphics technologies.
Okay.
Keep an eye out for games that support features like DLSS and ray tracing. Don't be afraid to experiment with different settings and find what works best for you. And most importantly, remember that gaming is about having fun.
Right.
So embrace the technology, but don't let it overshadow the joy of playing games.
That's great advice.
Thank you.
Stay informed, experiment, and most importantly, have fun.
Exactly.
Now, as we wrap up this part of our deep dive, I want to leave you, the listener, with a thought to ponder with AI playing an increasingly prominent role in gaming. What ethical considerations do you think we should be mindful of as developers, gamers, and a society? It's a complex question with no easy answers, but one that's worth considering as we venture further into this exciting new era of gaming. We'll be back in the final part of our deep dive to explore this question and wrap up our discussion. Until then, happy gaming. Welcome back to our deep dive into the world of AI and gaming graphics. In the previous parts, we've explored the evolution of upscaling technologies, the magic of DLSS, and even peeked into the future of AI-powered game development. Now we want to shift our focus to something equally important, the ethical considerations surrounding this rapidly evolving field.
It's crucial to have these conversations, especially as AI becomes more integrated into our lives, including our leisure activities like gaming. As with any powerful technology,
Right.
there are potential benefits and risks that we need to consider carefully.
Right. So let's start by addressing the elephant in the room.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people worry about AI replacing human jobs. Is it realistic to think that game developers and artists could one day be replaced by algorithms?
It's a concern that's shared across many industries, not just gaming.
Right.
But I believe that, at least for the foreseeable future, AI will primarily serve as a tool to augment human creativity, not replace it entirely.
Okay.
Think of AI as a powerful brush in the hands of an artist. It can help with certain tasks, like generating textures or animating characters.
Yeah.
But it's the artist who ultimately guides the process and brings their unique vision to life.
That makes sense. It's about using AI to streamline certain aspects of game development, freeing up human creators to focus on the bigger picture, the story, the gameplay, the emotional impact. But what about the potential for bias in AI algorithms? We've seen examples of this in other fields where AI systems can perpetuate existing societal biases.
Mm-hmm.
How do we ensure that AI in gaming doesn't contribute to harmful stereotypes or discriminatory practices?
That's an incredibly important point. AI algorithms are trained on massive data sets, and if those data sets contain biases, the AI will likely reflect those biases in its output.
Right.
It's crucial for developers to be aware of these potential pitfalls and to actively work towards creating more inclusive and representative data sets.
Okay.
This includes diversifying the teams working on AI development and incorporating ethical considerations into every stage of the process.
It sounds like a lot of responsibility rests on the shoulders of developers. Yeah. But what about the role of gamers in all of this? How can we as players contribute to a more ethical and responsible use of AI in gaming?
I think one of the most important things gamers can do is to be informed and engaged. Stay curious about how AI is being used in the games you play. Ask questions, raise concerns, and hold developers accountable for creating ethical and inclusive experiences. Don't be afraid to voice your opinions and participate in discussions about the potential impact of AI on gaming.
So it's a collaborative effort, really.
Yeah.
Developers need to be mindful of the ethical implications of their work, while gamers need to stay informed and engaged using their voices to shape the future of AI in gaming. But let's not forget the positive potential of AI. We've talked about how it can enhance visuals, performance, and even gameplay. What are some other ways AI could be used to create more meaningful and engaging gaming experiences?
The possibilities are truly exciting. Imagine AI being used to personalize games based on your individual preferences and playstyle, creating a truly unique and tailored experience or AI that can adapt the game's difficulty on the fly, ensuring a consistently challenging and rewarding experience for players of all skill levels.
That's amazing. It's like having a personal AI game master crafting the perfect gaming experience just for you. And speaking of personalization, what about the potential for AI to create more inclusive and accessible gaming experiences for players with disabilities?
That's an area where AI has immense potential to make a real difference. Imagine AI-powered tools that can adapt game controls, interfaces, and even gameplay mechanics to accommodate players with different abilities. This could open up the world of gaming to a whole new audience, fostering a more inclusive and diverse gaming community.
It's truly inspiring to think about the positive impact AI can have on gaming and beyond. It's a reminder that technology in the right hands and with the right intentions can be a powerful force for good.
Absolutely, and as we conclude this deep dive, I want to leave you with this thought. The future of AI in gaming is still being written, and we all have a role to play in shaping that future. Whether you're a developer, a gamer, or simply someone who enjoys playing games, your voice matters. Let's work together to ensure that AI is used responsibly and ethically to create gaming experiences that are not only visually stunning and technically impressive, but also inclusive, meaningful, and ultimately fun for everyone.
Well said. It's been a fascinating journey exploring the world of AI in gaming. From the technical intricacies of DLSS to the broader ethical considerations, we hope this deep dive has given you, the listener, a better understanding of this rapidly evolving field and sparked your curiosity about the future of gaming. As always, we encourage you to continue exploring, asking questions, and engaging in conversations about the role of technology in our lives. Until next time, happy gaming.